Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Been a little while since I've been on here, but hello. had a had some new opportunities come along, so just been taking advantage of all the time that I have to rest up and get sorted. New job is coming, so it's gonna be a long commute, but managed to get downtown today. Yes, we got the overlay running, which is super cool. um, got a very special flight for the viewers today. We're going to be doing an airplane that I actually recently watched a video on, and I have flown it in the past. Never really did it on stream here, so we're going to go ahead and give it our best effort. There may be some mistakes that happen along the way, but yeah, exactly. So as you can tell from the overlay that we're running here, we're running Philadelphia Airport to Louisville in Kentucky. And if anyone hasn't guessed by now, by the title of the video, we're going to be doing the beautiful Rotate MD-11 freighter today, which is a 3-engine airplane. So a little bit different than the what do you call them? Two jets. Dual jets. 2-engine airplane. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll show you guys how to power up the airplane. Very different than the cockpit of a Boeing or an Airbus, as you're about to soon see. So this is a good... I like this airplane because it gives me a little bit of a challenge. So first, I'm going to just set our payload here because I'm going to forget otherwise. So the payload is going to be 610 pounds. No, 990. 114,990. Block fuel is going to be 44,864. Taxi fuel is we're going to want 1,500 pounds of taxi fuel. No ballast tank. We don't need that. And then the trip fuel, which we can get off of our flight plan here, is 23,100 pounds. So we'll get that. Apply the load and configuration. Ground ops, we have a wide variety of... That's kind of trippy. They're backwards, these buttons. I'll go through the EFB with you. Pretty simple and pretty standard EFB here on the Rotate MD-11. We have just generic options. Options for cold and dark, parked with external power, which is usually what I do. I don't usually click these buttons though because I like to fully make sure everything is customized by me. I guess we can do some maintenance while you just make sure that there's no failures. Everything looks good. I'll make sure to fix all failures. We're not doing any failures today. Weight and balance is already set. And then you can also do, there's charts that you can pull up here. Charts, maps will give you a actual moving map of the airplane. So we can pull up Philadelphia Airport, which is really cool. And then it will actually move along as you continue through the flight. We can also pull up the airport code, PHL, and then we can actually get the weather information here. Wind is 240 at 8 knots. Visibility. It's a beautiful night to fly. So we're gonna go ahead and I'll show you guys how to power up the airplane, and we will get going. Is that a Pepe on a toilet? A Pepe emote on a toilet? I feel like an old person. Trying to figure out what all this stuff means. Anyway, let's get to the overhead panel. I can't see anything, so I'm going to whip out my flashlight real quick. We will get battery. And we're also operating this with the BSS Soundpack, if I'm not mistaken.
Autopilot.
Emergency power is going to go to arm, and then we have external power, so we will get that going here. Floodlights, panel lights, and we can get rid of this flashlight now. So as you can already tell, the airplane sounds a lot different than what you would hear in a Boeing or an Airbus, and that is largely because of the philosophies of McDonnell Douglas at the time. And it's a fun new challenge, right? It's different. So we still have some work to do on our overhead panel here before I get back. So IRS is going to come to nav. Okay. Emergency exit lights are going to arm. No smoking. We'll just turn that on for now. And then we don't have any air conditioning at the moment, but that's not really a problem. Fuel is loaded into the first, second, and third tank. Engine fire handles are above here. We can actually open this door, and then once we get airborne, I'll give kind of a little bit of a tour here. But I want to set everything up first, so let's go into our MCDU here. IRSs are in a line. We've got the lights set. So that's good. Come back here, and then, yep, I actually have mapped that. Okay, so, line IRS. We are doing that. Flight plan initialization. What we're gonna do is initialize the IRS. That's what we want. We are going from Kilo, Papa, Hotel Lima to Kilo, Sierra, Delta, Foxtrot. Pop that in there. Alternate, actually doesn't populate your alternate for you. Alternate is going to be Cincinnati, so KCVG. Kilo, Charlie, Victor Golf. Flight number, we're going to be UPS Flight 1193. And our cruising flight level is going to be 36,000 feet. 360, which is, I believe... Oh, we will have to just a step descent at a waypoint called Flirt. Which is probably closer to our destination here. I don't think it's actually a long enough flight to see the benefit in that, so... Oh, no. It is definitely not. That's definitely not. No, okay. I'm gonna ignore that because it's too short of a flight, and we don't need to... It's basically telling me that we get up to our cruising altitude, and then before we make another turn in an, I don't know, 40 miles, to actually descend the airplane back down. So there's no point in doing a step descent on a route this short. Chris, this is a McDonnell Douglas MD-11, which is the successor to the DC-10. So a very retro airplane, but it is... There's a couple of things I'll mention about the MD-11. First of all, glass cockpit, 3 screens on each side. I love the setup of this airplane. It's you really feel like it's an old combined with new feel to it, right? And I honestly think that the developers have done a really good job in, in making it. It does make up a big part of the UPS and FedEx global fleet. There's also airlines such as, I don't know if they're still flying Martin Air Cargo, Kalita Air possibly, Western Global I think, but primarily UPS and FedEx. A lot of the airplanes were they were in service with passenger operations, but obviously due to the economics of aviation and commercial travel, the orders for the MD-11 kind of dried up, and it never really succeeded for that long compared to modern airliners with only 2 engines, as this one has 3 engines. So a different new challenge today. We got 3 engines to worry about instead of... That's something I've always heard about. Yeah, that's always something I've heard about, like the A340, which is a 4-engine airplane. Is that pilots on the A340, they're like, oh yeah, it's just another thing to worry about. But I think it's cool. I love the A340. Okay, so let's go back, and I just want to check all this information here. Taxi fuel is going to be 1,500 pounds. Block fuel is 44,900 pounds, which is what we have. 44,864. There is a bit of fuel in the ballast tank. Don't really need to plug in information here. Ballast tank is going to be at 0. This is for if we want to dump fuel, which is what we don't want to do. Freezing temperature for the fuel is minus 40 degrees. So let's go ahead and check our flight plans. So already you guys can see that this, compared to my other videos as well, is a little bit different than the FMC from definitely different from an Airbus. But I find that airplanes that had kind of a... It must be the manufacturer of the FMC. I have no idea who it is. Collins or Honeywell or one of these things, probably Collins. They all have a similar look to them. So from that time period, this one in particular, if you look to the era of like 1980, 1970, probably the 80s, that's when the Boeing 757 also was released, and the 767, which the 767 also was a direct competitor to this aircraft here. They all have a similar FMC, as well as the Airbus A310 and A300. They all look like this. In fact, they're almost identical to this. So when the Boeing one, I think, is a little bit different because it's a little bit more streamlined. This one is very... I don't know. It's just an accustomed taste. Yes, there was. And there actually is still a UPS MD-11 parked at Pearson. If you're taking off towards runway 23, pass by it, or landing on the opposite 05. There is an MD-11, a UPS MD-11 that's just been sitting there for many years. I don't know what the problem is with it, but it must be costing money for UPS to just have it sit there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start programming our departure from Philadelphia. So we're using the Philadelphia 2. I have something different. I have Philadelphia 4 departure, but there's really only one departure, so this literally has to be it. Oh! No. Did I have 4? Or am I tripping? We're taking off on 9 left. Okay. This is literally all we have, yeah. Philadelphia 2 departure. Insert that, which gives us no other waypoints, so that's fine. We're then going to proceed direct to a waypoint called Mike X-Ray Echo. Pop that in there. Then we're going direct to Penn. see. Then we're joining an airway. So we'll this airways via Juliet 110. Juliet 110 via Juliet 110, and the exit point is the waypoint Flirt. And then we are proceeding via Juliet 6. After that, airway Juliet 6 to Hotel Victor Quebec. That's the exit point. BOR beacon somewhere. Then we're joining another airway, Quebec 68. And exit point is going to be Yawkey. I-O-C-K-Y. Yawkey. And then we'll insert that information. Make sure that looks good. And then we'll come in and go. Our star is going to be the Little 1 star. Little 1 arrival. Not even on here. Oops. Unless I'm missing it. I wonder if the AirX cycle is not as up to date. Could be. That kind of puts a ILS 35 left is what we're looking for. I might be missing something, but I don't think I am. Okay, let's just see for the Little 1 arrival. How do we not have this? This is weird. This kind of stuff drives me crazy. I don't even... We have to fly it without a star. That could be an option as well. Literally the only... That's so weird. It's saying 35 left can connect to the Cherry 4, Damon 5, which I don't have that on here. How about this one? How about this one? Oh, jeez. You know what? Okay. I might take out one... Okay, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna improvise. We are going to fly... Whoa, that's... Oh my goodness! An extra 77 nautical miles added onto our trip for no reason. Because there's a problem with the information in this. I don't know if I can take that. I might just have to proceed direct to Level 1 arrival. Yawkey transition. Bourbon. Why is it not here? That stuff like this drives me crazy. Goodness. Okay. How do I get rid of this? Strange. Okay, we're just gonna have to leave it. Whatever. We are going to just pop it in manually then. So, Yawkey, then we're going to Arush. There must be an update. There must be. I must be missing something here. Don't tell me we can't, like, land on the runway that I want to land on. How about runway 29? Okay, you know what? What do I have available to me? That's what I really want to see. This is just such a time waster, too. Like, I just want to see... It's such a waste of... How do I... Start. That's it. Okay, I may not have another option but to take an extra 77 miles. What about M-Bell? M-Bell 4. There must be something out of date. I'm gonna have to check this. But that's the problem with this plane in particular. It likes to cut some waypoints out, so we will just have to settle for an extra 77 miles. So be it. Alright, we'll see how the autopilot really likes it then. So, D-lamp. Yeah. D-lamp 6. Anchor transition and bourbon. Not even going to give us an option for it here. So... Oh, I definitely don't want all this stuff in here. I just want from... We'll actually take from HBQ. I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this. A-N-C-H-R. That's where I want. Anchor. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So we're going anchor to D-lamp. Then, wow, there's like... This is such a time waster. Pisses me off. Yeah, man, definitely. This is a great hobby. It will once you know what you're doing, it won't let you down. Okay, this is so strange. Okay. HVQ, anchor, D-lamp, K-Fong. This is okay. This must be a different arrival. We might not be able to use the arrival here in this case, because this does not look correct to me. So you know what? We're gonna do it completely old school here. D-lamp, K-Fong, K-F-O-N-G. Not in database. That's crazy. How am I supposed to fly this approach? Fun story. Let's see if there's a Navigraph update. And I just... I think there is. Oh, now is Navigraph Data Manager is what I want. FMS Data Manager. Don't tell me. Because I didn't get an email about it. I usually get an email about all this stuff. 2509. So Navigraph Data Manager says 2509 revision 1 is current. But on the other hand, Navigraph on Microsoft Flight Simulator says 2509 revision 2 is current. Well, that's kind of a problem. Because if I don't have these waypoints in my database, then life gets a lot more difficult for me. I suppose we always could just go direct to, and then go direct to the ILS, ignoring it, and well, we could do it, but get this out of here. I'm trying to think of what to do. In that case, let's just go... You know what? Here's an idea as well. We don't take a star at all. We take... we get rid of this. We get rid of anchor. We go HVQ, then we go SPAYD. We go to Spade, then we go to Yaki. And then we just go for select the ILS. I don't want that. Clear. Yeah. Insert ILS 35 left, and then we connect Yaki to. We just get rid of the star entirely. So, which will work because we don't have traffic, so let's just get rid of the star. I will have to figure something out in the future. And then we connect Yaki to Bourbon. B-R-B-O-N. B-R-B-O-N. We connect Yaki to Bourbon. How about that? Look at that. That works. Okay. Then we're doing Bourbon. And the next waypoint is Redbird, which we have. Ollie, which we have, which is our final approach fix. And then KNNOX. Cardinal. Bar, which was supposed to be at 1,360 feet roughly. Which, in that case, we should have the ILS by then, so. Okay. We're just going to ignore the star in that case and take it like that. We'll fly manual for a couple of minutes getting out of... Oh, damn it. Yeah, fly manual for a couple of minutes getting out of Philadelphia, and then we'll just vector ourselves onto the correct heading. Okay, so that could have been an easy solution, but I made it more complicated because I wanted to fly a star. But I'm going to have to check that information because obviously there's something wrong with the database. So, let's see. Altimeter, we should set the altimeter before I forget, which is going to be 3003. Altimeter 3003. Let's go to our takeoff and performance calculations here, which it will have. I use the Navigraph SimBrief takeoff performance calculations, so that's good. We're going to be using full power departure, so flex is going to be no flex. I don't know if it might not even need that. Might not even need that. Okay. Flaps are going to be 15. Flaps 15 gives us a stabilizer trim setting of 4.9. The wind is going to be 0404 knots. I don't know how to find the slope of the runway at this point. That's probably on the charts. Taking off on 9 left because it's Otherwise, you gotta taxi in a funky way, and I don't want to do that. So, let's thrust limits. We're gonna be doing takeoff 110. No flex, no derate. Packed off. I want packs off. Outside air temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. Pop that in there. I guess packs are going to be off. Navigraph's saying they can stay on, so whatever. I'll just turn them off. It's fine. I'd rather have too much thrust than not enough, so I just use 0, on the slope, and then wind is 0404. 040 at 4. I don't know if we'll like that. They don't like that? Oops. Not what I wanted. 0, 4, 0 at 4. Okay. I don't want to derate. Manual, yeah, that's what I want. I honestly have no idea. Why can I never set this? What if I do 3 zeros, 0.0? Oh, jeez. Oh, goodness. I don't even know. I don't know. Can I just, like, take off without it? I don't even know. Oh, okay. It's a common question on Google. Oh, interesting. Slope slash headwind component or slope slash tailwind component. So 0 followed by a, what do we have for a 3-dot headwind? Aha! There we go. Okay, it's these little things that that stick out at you. Okay, so flaps 15. 136, which is pretty accurate. Okay. 130. I want 135. 150, which is interesting. And then V2 159. 159. Okay. That is set. No flex. That's... Okay, let's see if that was set on here. It was. That's good. Our altimeter is 3003. 3003. That's set, and I've set it to sync on the first officer side as well. Okay, so this is coming along nicely. We're gonna set clear this, come to flight plan, let's set progress for the first officer. This is where things get a little bit interesting as well, because, oh, I have the wrong, I gotta change my throttle quadrant here. Engine 3, whoops. 2, and 1. And just block this off here. I can never remember that. Okay. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so here is where we this differs majorly from Airbus and Boeing, because you always have some sort of predetermined setting that Boeing will give you or Airbus will give you, and then it will set the trim for you. In this case, you actually have to dial flap, which is a cute little name for it. We are going to be at flaps 15 for this departure, so you can actually custom set the flap setting. So when we move the flap lever to takeoff position, it's actually going to come to around here. So that's pretty neat, in my opinion. That's something different, that it's a little bit different than Boeing and Airbus have done. For squawk code, we'll use 6351. We'll get the seatbelt signs on, and we are pretty much ready to go. Let's. I'll just show you guys as well, because I can't do it while I'm in the air. The fire test, which again is going to be sounding very different. Cover your ears. Volume warning.
Engine 1, fire. Engine 2, fire. Engine 3, fire. Engine 1, fire.
So, I'm not making this up. The voice you hear on the DPWS is known as Bitchin' Betty. And yeah, it's sexist. Yeah, it's not nice, but that is an old military name for it that McDonnell Douglas unofficially gave to the voice, because the voice was proven that in especially soldiers, like pilots who were flying for the Air Force, they had a better tendency to listen to a woman's voice than a man's voice for commands to immediately tell the airplane to do something. So, for example, in combat situations when you need to move the airplane very quickly, the airplane will yell at you, like, roll right or roll left. And they found that a woman's voice is actually more receptive by male pilots than the other way around, like a men's voice to a male pilot. So, McDonnell Douglas, Betty is terrifying. And you'll hear Betty throughout the flight. She'll give us little call-outs, and she is a little bit scary, but it's not as nice as the Boeing and Airbus voice. The Airbus voice is just mostly computerized. But also, another weird thing about this airplane is the APU start is actually all the way up here. So if we just push this button, it starts flashing. And the philosophy that Airbus had, which is the all lights out philosophy, is not entirely applied here. So we're starting the APU, but we got all this other information that's lit up, basically. And some of it we don't need. So, for example, like the engine generators telling us that they're armed for capturing the bus transfers we don't necessarily need to know that at the moment. But the way McDonnell Douglas designed this airplane was that it was designed with its own logic in hand. And a lot of this is streamlined from the DC-10, because the DC-10 was, obviously there were no screens in the DC-10, it was all analog. But so that's where I really like seeing a difference between like old versus new. Let's go ahead and close up the main cargo door, cockpit stairs, wheel chocks, And I don't know if the APU is online yet, so I'm not gonna... Should be. Not flashing anymore. Something that is similar to Airbus is that you can come down here, check status, and it'll give you a display of everything. Miscellaneous windshield defog off and data flight data recorder. Okay, we'll turn the defogger on. That's fine. The FTR will only come on once we start the engines, I believe. So we'll set the initial heading as well, which is going to be 087. We have our V2 speed 159, heading 087, and climb and maintain 6000. So that is set. Let's see if the electric page will give us any information. And again, all these screens that you can investigate the... Let's turn the APU power on. External power goes off. So again, that's the difference between the Boeing and the Airbus. Once you don't actually need to connect the APU generator. It does that automatically for you, even in a lot of Boeing airplanes as well. So, for example, if we had just... Now we're on extra... You actually have to carefully manage the network of the systems on this airplane. So it can be a little bit tricky to fly. So, for example, if we just switched off APU power, the bus ties go out, obviously. And if I also switched off external power, the airplane would completely shut down. So I don't want that. We'll switch on APU power, switch off external power. That external power light will go off, and then we can go ahead and disconnect the ground power. Now, we will secure the flight deck just because that's law. And we are pretty much ready to go, but now we will configure the air conditioning, which is going to give us the APU bleed. Pack 2 is going to be on. I guess Pack 1 and 3, you can kind of hear the air conditioning going on. Now they're coming on. That's good. Fuel pumps. The fuel pumps, on the other hand, is giving us a manual system override, but I don't want to do that. So I think those are actually managed by themselves, which is good. So next I am going to just... I don't think we even need a pushback. I think we can actually just start the engines. So we will switch on the beacon light. It's going to be quiet outside because I don't have APU sounds turned up. But that is fine. We will go ahead and start engine number 3. Feels weird to say. We'll start engine number 3. Now, the engine start sequence on this airplane, again, is a little bit different. So, you obviously have the N1, EGT, and N2. Just giving you generic information about the engines. But there is no starting switch. In fact, they are buttons down here you pull out. Oh, that's, oh, you know why? Here's another thing. You actually have to manually select the ignition channels. So the starters themselves actually need, so you can hear the packs go off. Packs all switch to off. Packs are always off for engine start. That's normal. We'll use igniter A, and then we pull that out. The light lights up. And you can see actually we have N2 rotation here. And you can hear it too. And this airplane sounds really good with this Soundpack, I have to say. And we're at 23%, 24%, 25%, give it fuel. Alright. Looking good. Engine 3 is starting. Go engine number 2. In theory, I probably should have started 1 and then to keep the fuel balance, but yeah. How good does this sound? Yeah, I thought. Oh, geez, they just sound so good. What are we getting? A message here? Check weights. I don't know. What's wrong with our weights? Don't need that. Climb. Selected cruise, optimum, max flight level. I guess we're missing some information here, which is probably, well, it is my fault. Cruising levels, position ident, that's fine. Weights. Ground weight. Let's spec that. I don't know what's wrong with it, but does it give us? Yeah, it gives us flight plan information. Okay, let's just start engine number 1, so we don't get any balanced fuel, unless this is like referring to the center of gravity, like the stabilizer. Be on it. Optimum max flight level. Check weights. Trip fuel versus time. I don't know. Weight in it. Ballast, N0 fuel weight. EZFW is 375, 265. 375.2. Let's try that. You know what else is interesting here? We can, I thought we could, yeah. Apply load configuration to aircraft and FMS. That's what I... check this real quick. 135, 150. Oops. Yeah, I'm out of practice with this thing, as everybody can tell. And then 159, 159. That's as good as we're getting it, okay? CG disagree. I don't know why we're getting that message here. The stabilizer trim is going to be 4.9, so we'll take this, move it to 4.9. Config MISC. Auto brake is on. Let me just quickly Google it. CG disagree. Probably means you copied center of gravity from the I definitely don't want a problem once I'm... Oh god. Just tell me how to fix it. TOCG. Let's see. What are they? Oh, trip fuel. Maybe that's the reason. 23,100. Ballast tank. Center tank. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Message went away. But we need to check the V-speeds. Okay. Good. 135, 150, 159. Good. Okay. APU power is available. We don't need the APU anymore. Can I just switch the APU bleed off? I will switch the ignition off. Engine ignition not armed, so they want the engine ignition to be armed for departure. Okay. We will stop the APU, and then there's something in disk that we need to look at here. DFDR off. That I also don't know, that one. Let's see. Normal to see it until you release parking brake. Okay, well, we're about to do that, so let's go ahead and release the parking brake. And it is gone. Okay, taxi lights are going on. And we are moving, so let's go to the left here. Ah, yeah, there's the line. I'll turn my landing lights on to find where I'm going. And I always have a tendency to make things a little bit more complicated for myself. So it's really not as bad as I like to think it is sometimes. So what I mean by that really is I usually think the systems are a lot more complicated than they actually are. For me, anyway. I believe there also was a... Oh, I guess setting the flaps would be good. Set the flaps for takeoff. Flight controls as well, which is going to be under config. Full left, full right, elevators, full left rudder, full right rudder. Okay. Flight controls are free and correct. I'm just gonna leave it like this. We'll just manually set the flaps. Okay, now we're gonna need to cross runway 9 right here. Of course, fly this airplane on a regular basis, either for FedEx, UPS, cargo, whatever. You're going to get really good at it, and nothing will scare you. However, we're going to switch the landing lights on. Clear on the left, clear on the right. And taxiway uniform is right up in front of us. Okay, we'll arm takeoff, nav armed, profile, arm profile as well. So that's basically like their version of LNAV and VNAV. And then the auto throttle in pitch mode, I think. No, we don't want that. Button 5.9 is what we want to set on here. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna make a left turn onto taxiway Papa. Man, it's dark out here. Arm the spoilers. There's a lot of stuff to remember in this airplane. Gives us a... I thought there was a takeoff config button as well, but it maybe not. Okay, and then once we get to taxi whiskey, which is right here. Alright, and we'll make the turn right here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, spoilers are armed, flaps are set for takeoff, engine ignition is set on A. We are going to be doing a packs off departure, so lights are going to be going to set, TCAS, TARA. And we will switch the... Can we not? Okay, that's how you do that. Packs off, so you have to manually override it. Okay, enjoy the takeoff, my friends. I'll see if I still remember how to fly this thing. I love the look of the strobe lights. The strobe lights look really good. Wind is 0404 knots. Runway 9 left, clear for takeoff. All right, enjoy those sounds, Chris. I'm actually gonna do a little technique here. I'm gonna stop on the runway, let the engine spool up, and then we'll release the brakes and go from there. B1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gears going up. Flight runway heading. Pitch mode automatically enabled. Climbing like a rocket here. be fair though, we are lightly loaded. Autopilot is engaged.
Stabilizer motion.
We will set the a heading 350. I know there's a discontinuity ahead. That's fine.
Altitude.
Approaching 6,000 feet. It's taking the flaps. Flaps 1. Auto throttle's doing exactly what it should.
Altitude.
There's Betty crying at us again. It sounds so good, doesn't it? I just love it. Alright, and then we'll make one more final turn once we're out of right out over the city here. Gotta pay attention to our speed because this thing is a little bit unforgiving. So if you don't monitor things, oh, and we need to switch our air bleeds on as well. So switch the bleed air. You just push the button back from manual to automatic, and then engine ignition. Do you actually have to keep the ignition armed over? I guess you have to keep it armed over the entire flight. So that's an interesting little change. We will go heading of 275. And we'll climb and maintain, let's say 14,000 here. So the airplane actually knows what to do all on its own. Flaps 15's already been retracted. This thing is climbing like a rocket, an absolute rocket. Auto brake will need to come over here and switch to off. And then what we can do is come down to our FMC flight plan and go direct intercept to the next waypoint, which is Mike X-ray Echo. Direct to nav. And now the airplane will follow once you know the philosophy behind flying these machines, it gets so much easier. You really start to enjoy yourself with the machine as well. We can also disarm the spoilers because we are in the air. 10,000 feet, landing lights are going to go off. And I don't actually think there's a wing light on here. What does this say? Courier. I don't know what that does, but I'm not going to touch it. And we're approaching, yeah, we can really retract the flaps now. So, flaps up. Speed is checked. And Chris, you were mentioning it was like a spaceship. This is now your full Star Wars immersion here with default X-plane weather. Going through a little bit of pocket of rain. Let's go and climb to 36,000 here, which is our cruising altitude. Speed's in increase. It's going to give us go up to 315 knots. Once it does that and we get past the transition altitude, I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of this pretty neat airplane. Switch on the cockpit lights. I don't like neutral position for the gear, so I'm gonna just leave it as it is. Someone remind me as well that we need to keep an eye on the true air temperature, TAT, which is here, 15 degrees Celsius, so that's fine. We cannot let it get below minus 40 degrees. I don't expect that's going to be the case, but just, you never know. Just increase my range here. Don't need that. Okay. Almost at that transition altitude anyway, so that's great. And just for anybody who needs a recap on what a transition altitude is, every altitude clearance that's given is usually given in a flight level above 10,000 feet. Depending on the air pressure of your airport, or where you're coming from, they will set a local pressure setting, usually in hectopascals or inches of mercury if you're in Canada and the US. In Canada and the US, they have a agreement between the two countries' aviation safety boards that they will only use inches of mercury. So when, for example, you set the pressure, which you can check right down here, it says Q&H. Q&H is your pressure setting. You can change that with this up here. We'll adjust the so to get a more precise, or I shouldn't say precise, more generic reading. The purpose of that is that above a transition altitude, you are going to have everybody operating on the same pressure setting. So if you tell if an air traffic controller tells one airplane, climb to flight level 280, that's 28,000 feet, the altimeter on that airplane will read 28,000 feet, but if the altimeter is measured correctly, an airplane that is going along the exact same route, cruising at flight level 360, 36,000 feet, is going to have the same reading. So the altimeters are going to be a little bit are going to be more or less the same for everybody. I've got a little bit of turbulence here. I love a little turbulence. I don't know. People hate it. I find it fun. Not bad turbulence, obviously, because that can be scary, but just a little light bump. And then I'll quickly go over as well what I really like about the MD-11 and what I don't like about the MD-11. One thing I do like is the glass cockpit here as well. This information is actually very interesting. It's a lot more simplified, a lot more just, it only tells you what you need to know, right? So, for example, our engine thrust, which we're in takeoff thrust anyway, which we should probably change because we don't need to be in full full takeoff thrust. That's why we're climbing like a frickin' rocket here. Performance, that's probably what we want. Thrust limit. Let's do climb thrust. So that's going to slow the engine down a little bit. You can see it rolling back a little bit, which is what we want. Climb 1. Let's do climb 1 because we're not in a rush. I mean, Christ, we're already 10 minutes in the air and we're already at 31,000 feet. Yeah, we're like absolutely rocketing out of here. I kind of underestimated. Select auto. Okay, now we have climb 1 auto climb thrust, so it's going to set what the airplane believes will be a. We're at 3,900 feet per minute, so you gotta pay really close attention to all this stuff. So I actually overrode it because I was worried about the weight and the performance of the airplane on takeoff because it was a big short runway and this is a heavy airplane. So I kind of just overrode it and said, hey, give me all the power you've got to get out of here. It certainly gave me power. And now that we're safely in the air, we are fine to switch it back to auto, which means the auto thrust is again going to come back down to a cruising rate. So cruise limb. I just want it auto. So it's gonna hold climb thrust all the way until we're at 36,000 feet. We are at 35,700 feet. So, and also one thing I forgot to mention about the the pressure setting is that once every country has their own, and it is based by country. Every country has their own transition altitude that they allow airplanes to. That airplanes have to set a local pressure in. So, in inches of mercury, that reading will always be 29.92. In hectopascals, that's going to be 1011 or 1012. So something different, because it's a different reading. I don't usually fly with hectopascals because I'm obviously operating mostly in North America. So I'm only familiar with, at the most, the QNH setting here. QFE, on the other hand, if you look up here, is a... what QNH will do is measure the airport's pressure above sea level. QFE, which is actually used in Russia and China, will give you an altitude indicator of the airport above the field, so the field elevation, which is so QFE. I don't know what the Q would be stands for, but FE is going to be field elevation. That gives you like the height that the altimeter is going to read above the ground directly. So
Autopilot.
whoops.
Autopilot.
I hit something on my control column. Now you know what the autopilot sounds like, which is scary. Yeah, and the engines have changed over to cruise, so that's cool. It is more automated than I give it credit for. For example, the takeoff was, you didn't really need to switch anything on the mode control panel up top there. I didn't really need to change much, but let's go ahead and increase the field range for the first officer's display, and then we can go through the airplane itself. How are my frames doing? It's not laggy, I hope. Perfect. Alright, I keep getting warnings on my streaming software that there's a problem with skipped frames. Anyway, yeah, glass cockpit, really cool design. Most Boeing airplanes will have a similar thing, but they actually only have 5 screens instead of 6. So a little bit more information. I believe you can actually change this screen and this screen around if you really wanted to. There's probably an override switch for that somewhere. I'm not about to. It's probably down here. I am not about to play around with it. The trim, spoilers, flaps. McDonnell Douglas actually made a part of their philosophy on design was that the airplane should, if for whatever reason the cockpit was completely covered in smoke or you couldn't see anything, the feel of the instruments themselves, you should be able to put your hand on it and feel what instrument it is. So that's something I actually quite like. So in this case, nobody really needed that philosophy. No one really needed to put it to use in their MD-80s and MD-90s. But in the MD-11, they've kind of streamlined a lot of that. So switches, like in the MD-80, which is a 2-engine in the tail, long, narrow body. Everything on the overhead panel, every switch, there's over 100 different types of switches that you can feel in a tactile way, and you should be, as a pilot, as an MD-80 pilot, able to understand what that switch does. So that's pretty cool. In this airplane, that's not the case. But a lot of the core instruments, such as the throttle, the speed brake, and flaps, and trim, they are all different. So, and to be fair, like, Boeing does do that as well, and Airbus do that as well, but it is especially pronounced in the MD-11. So, I'll obviously have another FMC, like a backup flight management computer, your transponder down here, and that's really it for the first part of the cockpit here. Fire handles are up on top there. What I actually really think is cool, and the most interesting feature about the MD-11 cockpit, is this little desk. There's a little table up here, and because the airplane was developed from the DC-10, which was a 3-man crew, or a 3-pilot crew, there used to be a flight engineers panel here that would have instruments and readings and stuff that they would need to look at during the flight. The MD-11 was sold to customers because it could reduce down to a 2-crew cockpit, and that obviously would save a lot of money for the airlines. So they reduced it down to 2-man crew, and they got rid of the necessity for a third pilot on board. But the chair and the desk stayed. So I always like to think, if I was on an MD-11, I would like to just sit at this little desk and look out the side of the window for the whole flight. That'd be pretty cool. Now it doesn't really, I don't know what purpose it serves, to be honest with you. If there's any, it might be like a maintenance or an engineer's panel, or if a crew member, like a airline personnel, is riding in the cockpit. I don't know. But fun that that made the cut. Seatbelts can come off because we're at cruising altitude now. So let's go into the cabin. Open the flight deck. Come into the forward cabin here. This I don't remember being here. Maybe they did an update. And because we're flying a cargo airplane, obviously there's not going to be any seats besides these 2 jump seats here. What I do think is interesting, though, on this MD-11 is I'm pretty sure there was a panel that you could control the lights with, and that was actually interactive, and it worked correctly. Maybe they took it out. Obviously, there's supposed to be cargo in here, but it's just simulated, right? Not too much for a... I could have sworn there was a panel here with a button. Maybe that's the A310 or 300. I'm not too sure. I don't remember. But I guess there is a little lavatory here. Obviously not simulated, but that's unimportant. And this is really the galley that the pilots use for long flights. So if you have any coffee, tea, snacks, drinks, whatever you're preparing, come into this galley. Toilets there. If there's anyone else riding, they're going to sit in one of these 2 jump seats here. There's oxygen masks for them. And then what I think Rotate's done the best at is the flight deck design. So all the systems, textures, everything in the flight deck, which is where you're supposed to be, is pretty well and accurately simulated here. So not too much for like a cabin change or design. Got the outside here. Well, something I really like about this airplane is the level of detailing that each panel seems to have. If you look at the tail, it's really, there's a little bit of weathering to it. There's panels that are, the paint's worn down a little bit. Like, and if you fly this thing in the daytime as well, it's really well done. It's really well done. Come back into the cabin, onto the wing there, and the lights I know that was one of X-Plane's selling features, was the lights, and looks really good. I think the lights look awesome, especially the strobe lights. Strobe lights are my favorite, but so far so good. We are cruising up at 36,000 feet. Just increase my navigational display there just to make sure I can see everything. Turn the lights down a little bit. And so far we're on track. Out of Philadelphia. Now, we can be proactive and start looking at the arrival, which is going to be into Louisville, which actually this airplane to capture an ILS is going to be we're going to need RadNav, which is going to we have to punch in the ILS frequency here. On Boeing airplanes and Airbus airplanes, modern ones anyway, the ILS frequency will actually automatically tune based on the database that you have that's concurrent with the airplane's maintenance, obviously. And it should be correct. It should always be cross-checked though. 109.35 is our ILS frequency. The course is going to be 350. So we can actually set that in here. And there is a 4-digit code, IRLI, which is the... Oh. Well, that's interesting. There's duplicate names. So this is an interesting case of the airplane's actually trying to pick up other frequencies, which are... Oh, we're gonna go right by Fort Knox. That's pretty cool. That's where all the gold is. 109.35. The airplane's trying to pick up other frequencies that it can reach, which... Oh, goodness. We're gonna have to eyeball this as well, because the nav data is terribly out of date, which is not good. So... Bourbon, which is at 37 degrees north, 85 west. That's bad. 85 degrees west is what we need. Well, what is the IRLI is what we need. Oh goodness, I'm very tired today. .76 degrees west does not make a lot of sense. It should be 38 or 37 and 85. And how many miles to our destination? That's what I really want to know. 350 miles. Well, that doesn't help. Turn to nav radio. Why is this a problem? If anyone out there watching is an MD-11 pilot, let me know. 347. I mean, I always do it close to once we get down. We just have to remember to do it, and then obviously it'll be whatever one is the closest one. Obviously that should make more sense. But at the moment, I don't know. Why do I need to pick up a ILS frequency on that course that's going to be 3 million miles away? Like, 109.35. I'm smart. I can figure this out. 350. And the thing about this is it won't give you, like, oh, you're off course, oh, you're, you know, it just won't pick up the frequency, which is a problem, because I don't really want to hand fly the whole approach. Don't want to do a hand-flown approach at night. It would be much better to, I think it's going to be the top one here, 38 and 76, but let's see what the waypoints are. 37, 50, 85, 38. It could also be this one as well. IJUH. What if I pick that? What if I just pick this? Yeah, the nav data is so out of date. It's bad because normally you could just cross-reference it with that and that would be enough, but maybe we can land on 3-5 right instead. Wow, this is a really labor-intensive flight. I'm not used to this. I'm used to the lazy man's way of doing it. Right. ILS or localizer. Runway 35 right. 11055. Let's try that and see if it comes out. IJM. Okay, it does have that one there. 38 and 85. We may just have to take that then, in that case. Flight plan. Ah, crap. Now I gotta reset all this information. Alright. Fine. Star, we're not taking a star. Runway 35 left is what we're taking. ILS 35 left. Transition is urban, I guess. Insert that information. Okay, now we need to change this information up here. We're taking 35 right now. ILS 35 right from transition. But you don't need a Eco. Yeah, take that. Okay. So after Yaki, we need to go to I'll take this out here too. Oh, it didn't save. Clear that. 35 right. Insert. 35 right. Okay. So on that one, this is just going to make my life easier when we start the approach. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for coming. See you later. Now, after Yaki, we want PGSU. M-E-K-O-S? No. Miko. M-E-K-O. Not even in the database. Let's try this one. Not in the database either. Isn't that cute? P-A-R-C-L. Please tell me. Give me something to work with here. Thank you. Parcel, which is our final approach fix. That works as well. Okay. I'll take that. Upsco. Then parcel. Okay, that's in there too. Take that out. Take that out. Okay. No, we're not already on the descent. What are you talking about? No way. Are you serious? There's no frickin' way. No, I don't believe you. No, we don't need to be done. HVQ on Juliet 6, we should be at cruising altitude, so I don't know what this thing is saying. We're just gonna have to do some calculations by ourselves. I am not on the descent. I don't know why this thing is saying I am. No localizer, no blind sub. It's probably because I put this information in here. Let's just get rid of this and see what happens. That fixes it. Oh man. This is, oh, cruising 360. That's why. There we go. There we go. Okay. That makes more sense. Everything's always fixable. But you have to know where to look. We're way too far away to start the descent already. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to take a quick break. I will leave you guys in control of the airplane. And then we will revisit in about 20 or 30 minutes when we are ready to start the approach. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
gonna get burned if you come too close, it's true. You're the one who lit me up. Can't take me much higher. Yeah, you're the one who lit me up. Help me, baby, can't you see that I'm on fire? Tell me, baby, I'm on fire. Tell me, baby, can't you see that I'm on fire? You want me near, can say I don't want you to. But you're gonna get burned if you come too close, it's true. When you're the one who lit me up, don't you dare saying I didn't fight for us. It's the tension between us. You want me near, can say I don't want you to. You're gonna get burned if you come too close, it's true. You're the one who lit me up. Can't take me much higher. Yeah, you're the one who lit me up. Tell me, baby, can't you see that I'm on fire? Tell me, baby, can't you see that I'm on fire?
something to feel good about. Good about. Good about. Good about. I can give you something to feel good about. Good about.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have started our descent into Louisville. Currently at 30,000 feet here. The airplane has and should be correcting for the lack of star, but that's okay. We're going to set radio altimeter minimum to 200 feet. That's going to be set and cross-checked onto the FO side there. Pretty steep descent here just because we don't have a star. The airplane's trying to compensate for what we wanted to do, really. But so far the autopilot has managed the profile pretty well. I want to say that this airplane has come a long ways from the point of its start to where it is today. Definitely a lot of improvements. And I am happy that we have a working MD-11 in X-Plane 12. Just topped an hour on the flight here, so I think we're actually going to get it in a little bit earlier than anticipated, which is a good thing. It means everyone can get their parcels a little bit easier, or a little bit quicker. Also want to point out as well, if you are watching this on Twitch, I am also streaming this to YouTube directly. Go to my YouTube, check out. I have every other stream that I've posted or done on Twitch. I use YouTube mainly as like a platform to hold all my VODs because obviously Twitch doesn't save.
Stabilizer motion.
Obviously Twitch doesn't save the videos for nearly as long as I'd want them to, so they're all on YouTube for you to watch and enjoy. If you want to see some other cool airplanes that we've been flying here on the channel, we're going to be doing the 777 eventually, but I really just wanted to fly this MD-11 just because it was a change and because it's something different, right? It's a change of pace. Let's arm the spoilers and let's go auto brake medium because we are on a short runway. This is a heavy airplane. And let's start preparing this airplane for arrival. So 18,000 feet, we'll take it down to 7,000 feet. Wants to add drag on there, so we'll have to be mindful of that. ILS is going to be obviously what we were discussing previously, so 110.55 with a course of 350. And IJJM is the one we're looking for, so take that one. That's set. 18,000 feet is approaching us quickly, so we'll come over to the airport. Now, runway 35 right and 35 left were used for departure and arrival, so not a problem here. We need to set our barometric pressure 3005. And we'll set it on the standby altimeter as well. Approach. The app is going to be 152. So this airplane actually does take quite a bit more speed as well to do the same thing, which is an interesting comparison to a Boeing 767, who might need only maybe 10 knots less. 15,000 feet here. We can go ahead and select the seatbelt signs to go on. Wind is calm, so that's a good thing. Now, in MD-11 operations, the auto throttle is used all the way until touchdown. So we're going to attempt to do the same thing here, but there's a good chance that I might want to disconnect it and fly it manually without the auto throttle, because I have had instances in which I've tried to land this thing and it's really not going the way that I wanted it to with the auto throttle. So just get my information here ready for the approach. So far so good. True air temperature is increasing, so we don't have any icing, so that's good. Because I did have an instance in which there was icing on the wing, and it was bad. It was a bad scene. That's all I'm going to say about that. Mother Nature was stronger than an MD-11. Feet, we're kind of hanging out right here. We're going to descend to 2,400 feet, which is our approach, final approach fix. The profile, which I really like about the plane, is that I get that they're similar systems to what I've flown in the past, but for some reason the organization of them is a little bit more, I don't know, rugged, interesting. It's just more fun. I don't know. It's always fun to fly a classic, right? An old 737 would be fun to fly too on the channel, but we have done a lot of 737s, so eventually we'll have to venture out into, I would like to do Microsoft 2024, which I recently got as well, and just haven't had the time to set everything up. But okay, so for landing flaps, we really don't need to select anything as far as I'm aware, but we can take 15 degrees would be more than acceptable for a landing configuration, or for like a midpoint. So 15 degrees. I should have just left it. Yeah, that works. Okay, just in case we forget the limit speed here. 255 knots. We should start slowing down now, because we should really start slowing down, yeah. So let's go to 230 knots, and we're going to put out a bit of speed brake here. We're going to need more than that. Yeah, we're way too fast. And again, because we don't have a star, we have to manage this closely. So
Stabilizer motion.
need to drop our speed down quite significantly here. ATC is going to yell at us, but that's fine.
Stabilizer motion.
That slowed down way better than I was expecting it to, so that's good. Okay, and we're going to be at 4,800 feet to take a shortcut in, so... Almost there. Direct to Pegasus. Alright. Perfect. I think I see the airport over there. 230 knots. And just a reminder as well, you will be able to catch the landing on my YouTube channel. It'll be up in a couple of hours. Okay, let's go ahead and get flaps 1 out. Start slowing the airplane down. Switch the first officer's display to approach. Got our slats out here. Land mode is going to go arm. Slow her down to 210 knots. Okay, glad the localizer is coming alive here, so that's good. Slow down to 100. Yeah. Perfect. Localizer's been captured. Glide slope is armed. And we'll do a nice, slow, and steady approach. Gotta get back on the glide slope here.
Altitude. $2,500.
Is what, or 152 is what we're looking for. Whoops. Okay, landing gear down, 4 green, auto brake, medium, spoilers are armed, missed approach altitude is 4,000. Lights are set, and we are clear to land. Alright folks, enjoy the landing.
Stabilizer motion.
Checked. Stable.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
Auto throttle.
500. $400. Approaching 100.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Easy.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Louisville. Let's get off the runway. Start the APU. Yeah, we'll... All right. I'm gonna keep the landing lights on just because I can't see what I'm doing otherwise. Alright, wow. That was a pretty successful run. Besides the issues with the nav data, this airplane responded pretty well and did what I wanted it to do, so that's a good thing. We'll just find a place to park across from this runway here. This thing wants to go. It's still like giving me a lot of power here. Alright, gotta be careful here, it's an active runway. Let's get across. And then I'm gonna just take us around to maybe just around the corner here. All of this, though, would be UPS parking, I'm sure. I've never been to Louisville Airport, so... There is a terminal. It's way the heck over there, so... Most of the airfield itself is actually a cargo operation, which is pretty cool. There's only a few of those in the United States. Memphis is another one, obviously. Oakland. It's so dark otherwise if I turn the landing lights off. Might just find a spot around here and then... Need these lights. Okay. We'll take one taxiway to the left here. This thing is so strong. Decent landing though. You know what? I think I'm just gonna take this parking space, to be completely honest. Oh, otherwise you got... Yeah, no. We're going to take this break. This will do just fine. Alright, and then park brakes going on. Engine 1, 2, 3 going off. This thing is a beast. This thing is an absolute beast. Fuel pumps are all off. Bleed air is off. APU bleeds we can turn on for now. Engine ignition is going off. Beacon light is off. TCAS is at standby. And we can open the flight deck. Alright. And there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Louisville Airport. Another successful flight here on the Captain Mirage channel. And yeah, this airplane has come a long way from where it was when it initially came out. The Soundpack, I think, just makes it 10 times better. But let me know. This airplane is a little bit different, so I wanted to just cover a different airplane on this channel, really. But let me know what you thought. We really didn't have any problems other than that nav data problem, but you improvise, you make do, you move on, you make the best out of a situation, right? And we ended up coming in on a different runway, a little bit high, but you know what? Not a problem. The landing was smooth enough, and all in all, it was science. We'll just say we took a shortcut, a little bit of a shortcut. And the wind was a little bit stronger as well than I had thought. My flight tracking program is saying 6 knots, but that shouldn't be really... I don't know. Following the approach was a little bit different.
Stabilizer.
I guess that's how you check takeoff config. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the MD-11 on the YouTube channel. Same, I have links on my profile as well as vice versa for Twitch. Make sure you give it a follow. Other than that, I think it was pretty successful. We actually made it in, what were we saying, an hour and 20 minutes. Our flight time was an hour and 26 minutes, so we actually arrived 6 minutes early. So that's good. And probably time we shaved off from following the star. So the airline is definitely not going to complain about that. So all in all, a successful flight. The modeling on this airplane is great. Definitely recommend if anyone's looking to pick up a heavy jetliner. If you're into cargo operations, this thing is an absolute must-have for your fleet. And a brand new challenge as well to learn something different, right? Because we can fly Boeings left and right, but this one takes a little bit more effort and it's a little bit more demanding of the crew, i.e. me. But I like that. I think having more challenge is not always a bad thing. Keep learning and do the best that you can. With that, my friends, thank you very much for tuning into the stream. I'll call it a night for now. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and hopefully later this week we'll be able to squeeze in possibly the 777. So until next time, my friends, Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Been walking along this road for so long now, thinking of ways to tell you I was sad. And then you called my phone and told me it was over. And I'm quite relieved that you thought we needed closure. 'Cause although we had the best days of our lives, some things they just don't last, and other things don't feel right. Because although we had the best years of our lives, some paths move so distant, and some stars lose their light. Been dragging my mind